Zimbabwe cash crisis worse. Talking about Venezuela once again. Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 called monetary awareness. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some RTD news updates. And so it's been a couple weeks since I've actually talked about what's happening down in Venezuela. So I thought today I would share a couple stories on what's happening according to the mainstream sources here. And as always, it's never really pleasant news, especially when the currencies continue to crumble and more people are becoming millionaires, but not necessarily being able to purchase much with those millions. But before I dive into today's articles, as always, if you're new to RTD, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button along with the notification tab to be informed of future updates as well as live streams. Also join me on Twitter where I share posts throughout the day on various subject matters dealing with our monetary system as well as whatever's happening in the news that I can't get to via video. So make sure you click the button down below to be notified when things are posted. And last but not least, RTD is on Patreon, and so I'm looking to basically get out here and share more news, get out in the streets, do more stories, but yet I could use your support. So if RTD has been informative to you and helped you in your educational journey, feel free to subscribe and become a member of the community officially and support RTD via a monthly donation of your choice. Other than that, let's dive into today's articles. So as I mentioned today, I have two articles I want to share with you, all kind of shining some light on what's happening in Venezuela right now. And of course, this is just one side of the story, of which the story in and of itself is very heartfelt in the fact that from some videos here, you have a chance to listen and actually experience what it might be like for some parents in the middle and lower class that can't really afford to maintain their cost of living in that country. And so when you have parents and grandparents mention about how hard it is to feed their children, of course, that story can really impact and touch the hearts of those that have children themselves. So what I'm going to do is basically just read through some of these articles, but more important, I want you to take the time to actually read them further for yourself, as well as on the next article I'm going to show you. Take some time to watch those short video clips there and just to get an idea of what it's like for some people in that country there. So to give you an idea what's going on here, it says Elizabeth Torres is outraged, but as a Venezuelan, she takes the front in her stride. It says, "We are a country of millionaires," she says, ironically, eyeing a carton of eggs in the market, the price 3 million bolivars. Quote, "You are a millionaire because you have to pay that much. And for that, you get 36 eggs, but the minimum salary is 2.6 million. It says, with what you get every month, you can't buy them," she says. Scroll down some more. It says, according to the country's leading universities, 87% of the population is now officially poor. In the market in the eastern Caracas suburb of Cachao, Torres, a 64-year-old retired accountant, isn't the only one grumbling. Between stalls of vegetables, meat, imitation leather shoes, people complain loudly about the cost of living. Torres' salary is equivalent to $32 at the official exchange rate and barely one much coveted black market dollar. Venezuelans have to pay 7 or 8 digit sums to buy staples like flour, rice, bread, or some other reasonably nutritious and filling carbohydrate. Carmen Machado, 57, was fired a few days ago from her job at an office cleaning company. They gave her 5.8 million bolivars as severance pay after 4 years of service, she said, enough to buy a kilo of meat. And so if you scroll down more, you hear more stories like that of people who are in that country that's living well below the poverty line, that barely is able to grab one item from a grocery store. And so it just really makes you appreciate the blessings we have in this country here, where we can go to the grocery store and our currency is still relevant enough to be able to purchase some things that we need, even though our situation is on the complete extreme from what they're experiencing directly. But the idea that this country here, their currency is being inflated away with the lack of purchasing power there. And in my opinion, it's just a matter of time before this situation here becomes more of a worldwide epidemic, in the fact that all fiat currencies will begin experiencing similar matters in the days ahead because of all the things that's developing around us. It says President Nicolas Maduro, whose controversial re-election in May will keep him in presidency until 2025, argued that Venezuela's inflation is a result of speculation and an economic war designed to cripple the country and force a transition. It says in March, Maduro announced a redenomination of the bolivar, lopping off 3 zeros from its value to counter hyperinflation. It says the launch has been postponed as the electronic banking system wasn't ready and nor were the promised new banknotes printed. So the idea that their currency once again was redenominated, where they chopped off a couple zeros, but it's been postponed because there's not enough paper to print the new notes in this country here. So very telling. So that leads me to the very next article.
Is the next recession?
Recession will be.
Will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession.
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months, but a lot of things about this particular one have not been typical. So
a crash is coming now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. If you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.
And so here it says, Venezuela deploys soldiers to markets to check prices. So here we have the idea that in some markets in Venezuela, the military is setting up shop to guard the doors because people are desperate there and they're looking to acquire food by any means necessary. So give you an idea what's going on here. And so this article here is very detailed in regards to these videos here, which I advise you take a minute to watch. They're about 3 or 4 minutes long, but it gives you some stories that will really touch your heart, I believe. It says President Nicolas Maduro ordered the measure, arguing that sellers were charging over the odds for price-controlled items. And I'll scroll down a little bit more. And so here it says hyperinflation hits. It says President Maduro announced a tripling of the minimum wage from 1 million bolivars a month to 3 million bolivars, or $1.07 at the black market rate. So here's the idea that the minimum wage was 1 million bolivars a month, and so he tripled that to 3 million, which is about $1. So just goes to show that the idea of being a millionaire in that country there is not what it's cracked up to be overall in comparison to what it might have been 10 years ago when their currency was a little bit more stable. And so the idea of being a millionaire at that point had some purchasing power behind it. He also said that workers will receive 2.2 million bolivars in meal tickets. So here we have a government that's already bankrupt, borrowing money, printing a digital currency, as well as subsidizing the food market there, giving away 2.2 million or $2 in meal tickets there. It's the 4th increase in the minimum wage this year, and critics say the measure will drive up inflation even further. So not only are they subsidizing prices, they're putting military at the stores to make sure that those businesses who are in business to make a profit don't take advantage of the people by charging what would be considered fair market value for a hyperinflated currency. And so the businesses are forced to keep their prices well below what they are actually worth in the normal market there, and they're losing money. And so the government step in to make sure those vendors don't make a profit. So here we have dollartoday.com to show you the differences in the exchange rates amongst the 3 different markets they have there when it comes to pricing the bolivar to the dollar. And so here we have the idea that right now today it says $1 is basically 2.9 million bolivars on the street there. And so here are some other figures here. And so according to Dollar Today, it's 2.9 billion. So just imagine if you had a single silver round, say last year when I was reporting on this same website here, when the dollar to bolivar ratio was in the triple or the 4 digits, not necessarily 7-digit price figures, a single ounce of silver probably would have cost maybe 10,000 bolivars at that point, but now it'll be $16.70 or $17 times 2.9 million bolivars on the street. So if you'd have had a single silver round a year ago and kept it to this day, you would have appreciated it in nominal value according to bolivars and been able to purchase a lot more with that single silver round as opposed to holding solely bolivars. So this is what's happening in the news. Thought I would shine a little light on the situation down in Venezuela and show you some of the figures and whatnot, as well as give you a chance to click on some of those links to watch some of those videos. So this story here is a complete tragedy in my opinion, just because the Venezuelan people, beyond the fact that they continue to support, and some people have actually voted for Maduro to stay in power, and there's of course other factors that tie into this as well, but the fact that their monetary system is crumbling and people are starving there, this is definitely a story that should become more of a wide known subject matter if it was important for the mainstream news to report on these matters, because it's unfortunate that kids are starving there, as well as the videos you'll see that they're suffering from malnutrition, especially the fact that this country here is not too far from our borders below the equator. So leave a comment down below, and as well as you find this important, please share this with your family and friends so more people can become aware of these type of events. And other than that, enjoy the rest of your day.